question 5 this time. And question 5 says, given 1 negative x, y 2 times 2 negative 1, 1, 3 equals a 10, 6b. In this question, we're dealing with matrix multiplication. So we're going to need to multiply rows by columns. So let's start there. So we say 1 times 2 plus negative x times 1. Then 1 times negative 1 plus negative x times 3. Then y times 2 plus 2 times 1. Then y times negative 1 plus 2 times 3 equals a 10, 6b. So in that first step, all I did was to matrix multiply. Any question with that step? You have to have matrix multiplication done, right? So that you can better understand this section and the other sections that are to come. Right? So now let's multiply these out. 1 times 2 is 2. A negative times a positive is a negative. X times 1 is just 1x, or you can just call it x. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 times, a positive times a negative is a negative. X times 3 is 3x. Y times 2 is 2y. Plus 2 times 1 is 2. Y times negative 1 is negative 1y, or negative y. Plus 2 times 3 is 6. Equals E 10, 6b. Questions, guys? Questions?
Sir, the one that is 1 times 2?
1 times 2, yes. 1 times 2, negative x times 1.
Okay, so
Okay? Everybody with me so far?
that is a +1 right there after the x, or negative?
Which one?
In this box, yeah.
This?
Yes,
because it's this one which is positive, but we just put times x times negative x times 1.
Oh, times 1.
Instead of the little dot, let me put the times sign, so it's not 2.
Oh, I couldn't see it good.
Okay.
And then the y is plus after that?
The what?
The y is +2?
Y times 2.
Oh.
Y times 2 plus 2 times 1. So everybody with me? Our next step is to equate. So we will now equate left hand side to right hand side. Meaning again, we're going to have 4 equations, all right? And we have to work out all 4. The first equation says 2 minus 1x equals a. Obviously, it has 2 letters, so I cannot work that one out yet. So I move on to the second element, which is negative 1 minus 3x equals 10. Now that one I can work because it only has 1 letter. Okay? So let's work that one out. To do that, I will gather like terms, meaning I will move this across to make it positive while moving this forward to make it negative. So I'm going to have negative 1 minus 10 equals 3x, which obviously negative 1 minus 10 will be negative 11 equals 3x. And I don't want the value of 3x, I want the value of x. So I'll divide both sides by 3. So x is actually going to be negative 11 terms. Questions, guys? Up to there.
Sir, please go over that.
All right, I have negative 1 minus 3x equals 10. I need to gather like terms. Gathering like terms because x should never be negative. X should be positive. So to gather like terms, I will move the negative 3x to the right. In doing so, the negative moving from the left to right of the equal sign goes from being a negative to being a positive. That's why it has 3x. Similarly, if I move something across, then something has to come back in the other direction. And so the 10 goes from the right to the left. So the 10 was a positive. When it goes across, it will change signs. Now it will be negative. So now I have negative 1 minus 10 equals a positive 3x. So gathering like terms, basic transposition. You need to know that. Now, if I owe $1 and I borrow 10 more dollars from you, I end up owing $11. Then I want to get rid of that 3. So that is 3 times x. The opposite of times is divide. So I have to divide both sides by 3, giving me x is equal to negative 11 thirds. Questions?
Sir, somebody mic yan.
Excuse me?
Somebody else mic yan.
I will tell you somebody like that. All why like that, baby, no mind. I don't understand nothing. I don't see barely anything.
I don't know who is being disrespectful. They know that we're recording, which means that they should be with their mics off unless they're asking a very important question. Pin my video, guys. You need, if you can't see it, you need to pin it so that it's the biggest, it becomes a big screen on your device. Questions? So we have the question, given negative 1, given 1 negative x, y 2, 2 negative 1, 1, 3 equals a 10, 6b. So I matrix multiply 1 times 2 plus negative x times 1. That gives me this one. 1 times negative 1 plus negative x times 3. That gives me the second one. Then y times 2 plus 2 times 1. Then y times negative 1 plus 2 times 3 equals, I just bring this down, a 10, 6b. That's only the matrix multiplication. So then I continue. 1 times 2 is 2. A positive times a negative is a negative. X times 1, 1x. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. A positive times a negative is a negative. x times 3, 3x. Then y times 2, 2y, 2 times 1, 2. You have to put the plus sign. A positive times a negative is a negative. Y times 1, 1y, so negative 1y, plus 2 times 3, 6, equals 8, 10, 6b. I then equate left hand side to right hand side, meaning this first one is equal to that first one, this second one is equal to that second one, this third one is equal to that third one, and the fourth one equals the fourth one. So I have negative, 2 minus 1 x equals a, but since there are 2 letters, I cannot work it out. So I have to look at another one of the equations. So I go to the second one, negative 1 minus 3x equals 10. I gotta like terms because this should not be negative. The x should always be positive. So I take it from the left to the right, making it a positive 3x, while the 10, I bring it forward. Since the 10 was a positive, when it goes forward, it becomes a negative, giving me negative 1 minus 10 equals 3x. We know that negative 1 minus 10 is negative 11 equals 3x. But this is 3 times x. I don't want 3 times x, I want x. So the opposite of timesing by 3 is I divide both sides by 3. Can remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So this will cancel, leaving me x equals negative 11 thirds. Now that I have the value of x, which is what is here, I can substitute negative 11 over 3 for x. So I have 2 minus 1 times negative 11 thirds, close the bracket, since this is x, equals 2. A negative times a negative will give me a positive. 1 times 11 thirds, or 1 times any number, does not change the number since it is an identity. So I have 2 plus 11 thirds, but 11 thirds is the same thing as 3 and 2 thirds. But 3 can go into 11 3 times, which gives me the number 9, leaving me 2 remainder, and a 2 goes over 3 since it's a remainder. Now, 2 plus 3 is 5, and the 2 thirds just comes along with it. So we've done the first 2. The third one says 2y plus 2 equals 6. So it only has one letter, so I can work it out. I minus 2 from both sides, giving me 2y is equal to, well, 6 minus 2 gives me 4. Again, I don't want the value of 2y, I want the value of y, so I divide both sides by 2, canceling that out, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we have our third result. Then the last one, negative 1y plus 6 equals b. I can write it with this y at the back since it is negative. So it will be 6 minus y equals b. I will substitute 2 for the y. So I'm going to have 6 minus 2 equals b. So if I have 6 and take away 2, I now have 4. And that is my final answer. Questions, guys?